Howdy folks, welcome back to Moondockery. It's time for another jumping on the old school bandwagon, aka stuff I used when I was in the Army. But wait a minute, what I'm going to show you today, I didn't use when I was in the Army. However, it was from the same lineage of the things that I used when I was in the Army. Just give you a quick peek as to how this thing rides. Now, this ruck isn't anything I used when I was in the Army. However, it's pretty cool, and it really lends itself to the things I did when I was in the Army, which was reconnaissance. Now, the pack is basically, it was called a radio case, and it was issued in 1998. It's essentially a teeny tiny Alice pack that would mount on an Alice frame with Alice shoulder straps, Alice waist pack, and you had a little bit of space underneath. Well, about the same time period, they also came out with a small training pack that was that era's answer to the butt pack. Well, I put all that stuff together and made a pretty nice little recon rig. Check it out. It rides really well, and I'm really surprised on, especially for warmer weather, how you can cram a lot of mission specific stuff in this thing. Well, here it is. Before anyone gives me any grief about this bright desert tan cleaning kit I have attached to this, I just threw it on there, and if I wind up using this, this will definitely be much more subdued than it is now. Right now my plan is to walnut dye it, and that'll make it a good subdued color for just about any environment, any terrain. Now, this started off being a spur of the moment impulse buy of this pack. As you can see, it's very small, but it looks like an Alice pack, like a medium Alice pack, and pretty much all the features are the same as the medium Alice pack, except it is designed specifically as a radio pack. And I don't know specifically what radio they used when this was being issued. When I was in, we used a PRC 77. And by the looks of it, it looks like a PRC 77 would actually fit in it. And you have multiple pockets out front, same as an Alice pack. On the interior is one big radio pack and a little bit of space for some other stuff. And I was playing with this just definitely to try to occupy my mind on something other than what's going on in the world. And so I started playing with it, and I noticed that there's a whole lot of real estate down here. And so I was like, well, you know, I could definitely do like a sleeping roll down there or something like that. But I actually wound up picking up, I call it a training pack. That's what it's labeled as, it's a training pack, but it is a woodland camouflage butt pack. It's smaller in dimensions and capacity than the old school butt packs they had when I was in, all the way through the beginning of the Vietnam War. And a couple features are a little bit different, but it's essentially a butt pack. So I went ahead and laid that on there and said, well, that's interesting. So I wound up attaching it there and started looking at it a little bit more. I said, you know what, that's got some potential. So I went ahead and started playing with it a little bit more and decided to just go ahead and permanently attach it on this. And I want to bring you in and let you see how I did that. Now the straps on the training pack is very different than the way they are configured on the butt pack. And I believe this was specifically designed for use with the LBV, which came well after I got out of the Army. And it still retained the Alice clips on there, so you would attach it to the pistol belt. But I was able to attach these upper portions here to the actual frame itself. And in order to give it stability on the lower portion, I simply ran 550 cord through the webbing here, the Alice webbing, and just tied it off onto the frame. And it's very, very secure. It rides very, very well on there and occupies that space pretty nicely. Now with the size of this pack, I thought it would be fun to rig it up like a little Recon Patrol pack. When I did Recon, when I was in the Army, I had a medium Alice pack, no frame, and that's what I used. Nothing fancy. And so with this one, I started thinking about, okay, what was the basic stuff that I would take on Recon? And I went ahead and just pulled a bunch of stuff out and started throwing it in, trying out different places. And I came up with the load that I have. This is by no means a finalized load. This is literally a product of throwing some stuff in there, seeing how it works, switching around a little bit with the stuff that I could find and pull out. So this is by no means a finalized rig, but it gives me a decent idea as to what I could use in it and what I could use it for. Now, like I said, this is by no means a finalized loadout. However, you will get some ideas to what amount of stuff, what kinds of stuff you can stick in here and where. Now, that being said, I know there are many generations of veterans out there. Some of you may still actually be active service that are Recon. You're Cav Scouts, you're Force Recon, you're whatever. If there is anything that you think would be quintessential for this loadout that I haven't got on here, and I already know that there's a few things like some optics, either monocular or binoculars, things like that, but anything that you think would be quintessential for a Recon rig, Recon pack, especially a lightweight one, not a prolonged period of time, basically for 24 hours, please put it down in the description box below. And I would deeply appreciate that, because it's really comfortable. And so far right now, I'm digging it. I'm liking it pretty well. So I'm just going to go ahead and start down here at the butt pack. And the nice thing about the butt pack is it still has the side webbing on it. So you could attach additional canteen pouches or first aid pouches or magazine pouches or something else, because there's still some real estate here that could be occupied. But as of right now, this thing weighs about 35 to 40 pounds. And so that's about the limit I would like to stay at. I would say probably around 35. It's really solid. That's the thing I really like about this. I mean, it's just really solid. Nothing moves around on it. So we'll go ahead and pop this open, and it fits in here very, very snug in this space. And the way I've got it cinched out with the 550 cord and the webbing straps that are attached to the frame, it fits pretty nice. Now, I've got an MRE spoon, got an extra pair of socks, another MRE spoon. To have two is to have one, to have one is to have none, right? Good rule of thumb. And I've got 3 broken down MREs. And that's the beautiful thing about MREs compared to the C rations that I was issued the first half of my service, is that, yeah, you can break them down. You can take them out of the box, but you can't make the packaging any more compressed or anything else. I always use socks. I just put my C rations in socks, cinched them up really good and tight, wrapped them up, and so they wouldn't bang around, and like one C ration with one sock, and I'd slide them in the pack. And let's see. Okay, that's all I've got in here except for my whoopee. And this was not the kind that I had when I was in. This is actually the upgraded one, which is from the same time period as this pack, the Field Pack Training pack. And this was manufactured by 3M, which their shtick on this was it's twice as warm and so many ounces lighter than the original. But it's a fantastic whoopee. Now I'll show you some of the things I have on the outside. This is a, I believe it's from, oh golly, who manufactured? Otis. This is an Otis M4, M16, 5.56 millimeter cleaning kit. A former student of mine, a great friend of mine, he had multiple deployments when he was in the Marine Corps in the Middle East. I think 1 or 2 to Iraq, 1 or 2 to Afghanistan, and he brought back, you know, quite a few of these. Had a buddy in supply, and he gave me one of these and one in 9mm as well. So I know I have a cleaning kit with me. I very easily could have used my M16 cleaning kit that I was issued when I was in the Army, but this actually has 2 Alice clips and secures to the outside pretty nicely. And I could have put my original, because it has a single Alice clip on there, but it flops all over the place. I never attached it to anything. I just took the Alice clip off and threw it in the pack. And on the other side, I have attached my SE5 with a small survival kit on here. I ordered this, it's an adapter, I guess they would call it, a sheath adapter. So this can adapt it to Molly, it can adapt it to Alice, it can do all kinds of things, but it's a much better sheath option than the sheath that comes with it, because even if you were to use 550 cord to lace the eyelets through the webbing and things like that, the top of the knife, this knife is very heavy, and it would be flopping around things like this, but this sheath is fantastic. You can wear it on your belt, it comes with a leg strap, you can do all kinds of things with it, but it fit this pack right here perfectly. So that's what I have on the outside. On both of the side pockets, I have canteen, 1-quart canteen, and I don't know when they started putting this style of cap on compared to the other, which I have one over here. But this is for a gas mask, and this cap right here, I really like this design of the cap. It just, it's a great fitting cap, and it's a little easier to get on and off. And with this thing, this cap guard always broke off. You'd lose it, everything else. Stuff would get all down inside the gas mask attachment, and it was just a pain. But as far as just a cap goes, these things were great. And I think my first canteens I was issued did not have that on there. We received those later. In the center pocket, I have my poncho and some insect repellent. This is actually a bottle of insect repellent I brought back from the Army. Now, inside the top flap, you can see this has got a little bit of wear on there, but it's still in pretty decent shape. I have a camo scarf. Come in real handy if you're trying to lay low and do a little sneaking and peeking, little distanced observations. And in the very top portion, I have a down jacket for the early mornings and late evenings when there's a little bit of a chill in the air, but I'm not ready to hunker down and try to get some shut-eye with my whoopee, so I got that. I also have a heavy-duty space blanket just in case I decide to make a hide observation point. This would be the ground layer I put on, and it's also awesome insulation just in case you need more insulation and the temperature drops a little lower than what you really would like it to. Now this is my Woodcraft kit, and I apologize that these are multicam, you know. They didn't have cool stuff like this when I was in, but Tough Possum Gear just makes amazing pouches, and you can find a purpose for just about all of them. But inside it, I've got a couple more do-rags, cravats, bandage, camouflage, I think they called them. I have a Baco Laplander saw. Great little lightweight tool, works fantastic. I have a variety of cordage in here, different sizes, different thicknesses. Here I have an emergency fire kit, and like I said, this would be for emergencies. I have some homemade fire starters. I have in a sock to keep them quiet. Use a lot of socks for a lot of purposes. I have a pocket bellows, and I also have a ferro rod that has an emergency compass on the inside, and I also have some emergency fire starter inside of it as well. And also, these things are the bomb. These are Zippo storm matches. Look at the size of these things. Look at those things. They're like road flares. And literally, you can light one, submerge it in water, pull it back out, and it will start burning again. And so you got this. It's waterproof. Not that waterproof matches need it. And there's the striking pad at the bottom. I have a small trowel, which I would use in replace of an e-tool, just simply because I don't want to do earthworks while I'm out on recon. If I need to make a small hole, small divot, I want to do a Dakota fire pit, something like that, I can very easily do it with something like this very quickly without all the extra weight, and also the visible signs that I'm there. I have a 55-gallon bin liner, a 30-foot hank of two 30-foot hanks of olive drab mule tape, 100 feet 550 cord, I think that's 25 foot of 550 cord. I have spare batteries for all of my electronics, and I have 4 heavy-duty long zip ties. So that's my Woodcraft kit. Now, I think we're close enough we can get into the communications pouch area. Now, the top flap was designed with a piece of Velcro on it right here, so that you can run mic cords, headphone cords, antennas out of it. And I have in here extra batteries, and they are wrapped in shop towels and in a Ziploc baggie to keep them dry. When they are not assembled with the radio, They're not waterproof. So I got 2 of those. The radio I have is a Bofang AR-152 because I can't afford any other higher quality communications, but I have been incredibly impressed with this radio for the price. So I've got my spare batteries in another Possum Gear, Tough Possum Gear pouch, and which will bring me to the radio itself, which is the Bofang AR-152, and I was able to actually get an old school style handset for it that looks just like our PRC-77 handset. Now, there's not a whole lot of spring in this clip, so I'm going to come up with another way to be able to attach that. I might go ahead and permanently attach a D-ring on that, but it works well. I was very impressed. The clarity on both transmitting and receiving is absolutely fantastic. This is the standard length antenna that comes on the Bofang AR-152. However, I also have, let's see which side I put it in. There it is. This thing is honking huge. This has got to be, that's over 36 inches. It is right at 36 inches, very close. But there's a huge difference in transmission and receiving with this antenna versus the one that's on it. The one that's on it is good, but this one is fantastic. And if I think about it, I'll go ahead and add a picture of this on the radio while it's in my pack. A few weeks ago we had a camo day at work, and most people wear, like, you know, camouflage baseball caps, camouflage shirt or something like that. Well, let's just say I went a little overboard with the camouflage. Okay, right here, this is toward the very bottom of it. This is a chemical protection suit bag or pouch, and I've got several of these things. We weren't issued these at all. These probably came from the same time period as the training pack, the butt pack. But I love these things. They're made just like dry bags. They are very water resistant, very highly water resistant, and you can always treat them more. But they have Alice clips on them. They have eyelets, so you could literally wear this just like a butt pack. And it's pretty substantial in its size. So you could use this as a foraging bag and be able to collect a lot of stuff, whatever you're foraging. But I am using it as a camouflage net bag. And this has never been used, but the reason that I selected this bag is because I'm never going to be able to roll this up like this. They have, you know, people in the factories, I don't know how they do this, roll these things the way they do. But anyway, this is just going to get stuffed and crushed in this bag, because not only is it a storage bag, but with these straps, it's compression bag too. Now that's it for the contents of the pack. I would also always have with me my map case. I would also always have with me my notebook and pens, pen light, writing rain, and I also have in my front left breast pocket a package of alcohol pens for my map. In my right breast pocket I have a signaling mirror, as well as dummied to my pocket buttonhole storm whistle. Oh, another thing, I always have wipes. This is the pack all put back together again, and I went ahead and put on the extended folding antenna on the radio. One thing that I wanted to tell you is, like, this bug juice. I have not used this, oh golly, in a really, really long time. And the last time I used it, I was doing a little scout on a piece of property. Oh gosh, it had to have been 30 years ago now, easily, maybe more. And I was in an area and I was getting eaten alive by skeeters. I pulled this stuff out, rubbed it all over my arms, my neck, my head, my face, everything that was exposed to the skeeters. And it was burning. It was burning bad. And so I was just, you know, out walking around with my 22 and noticed it was just like red stuff all over my arms and my hands. I'm like, what in the world? And I'm looking at it, and then I look at my rifle. This stuff removed the stain and the varnish that was on my Ruger 1022 stock. So if by any chance you use this kind of insect repellent, let me caution you, you have to make certain that this is put in a waterproof, watertight bag, because if this stuff leaks, like where I had this in with my poncho, been a long time, this stuff will completely destroy the waterproof coating on this, the rubberized coating. It will dissolve it. It will just eat it up. And any other type of material, it will not do well with it. I have not used any type of DEET for a really, really long time. And I use permethrin now. I pre-treat all my clothes, my packs and everything, and I just haven't really had a need to use anything on my face or hands as far as an insect repellent goes, because being on my clothing, my hat, things like that, keeps the bugs away, and I'm just a lot more comfortable. I'm going to show you the things that I would also need for a Recon kit that I always keep in my LBE. First of all, if you want to do any type of scouting and patrolling, you gotta have a compass. This is an old school military lensthetic compass, and it still works like a charm. And got that dummy corded onto the pistol belt itself, and I have two M16 3 mag pouches I use for my magazines. I have two more for stuff, and the stuff I have in this, I actually have two head nets just in case I lose one. These things work great. Now permethrin is fantastic, but there are times to where you're trying to get some shut-eye, you don't have anything on your face. This right here, they'll try to land on your face. They'll crawl across your face. When you have one of these head nets on, it prevents that. This is my IFAK. I have everything in here you'd have in a basic IFAK. I have an Israeli bandage. I have compression, which is the Israeli bandage, is a compression bandage. I have packing gauze. I have the treated packing gauze with quick clot and a tourniquet. So that's in my IFAK. And in the other one, I have my little Sidewinder flashlight that has IR mode and red light on it. There's also a blue and a white at varying degrees, and you control that all by there. I love this, and it fits perfectly in the top of an M16 magazine pouch. I also have a headlamp. I have very expensive headlamps. These things right here were about $7-8 a pop. They're Energizer headlamps. I buy them like 4 or 5 at a time. If I lose one, I'm not out a whole great deal of money, but they work really well. First setting on it's always red, and when I need to turn it off, click it once and it's done. If I need to do white light, I just go through the different variations of it and it goes off. But again, red, it's off. I also have a hank of 550 cord, my camo face paint, I have wet ones, and I have a spool here. It's a cylinder. I've got Gorilla tape here, 1,000 mile an hour tape here. This I have a sewing kit, and I use wax linen thread on that, and if I'm sewing clothing I just separate this section of 3-ply wax linen and I can use it to sew clothing. And then I also have a spool of steel camouflage tripwire. And more wet wipes, and that is all I have on my LBE as far as additional kit for our Recon Patrol rig. There you have it, folks, my little experimental Recon pack. And even though this stuff is 40+ years old, I personally feel it's still viable. I personally feel that it's still rugged. It will still do the job. Now granted, there's a lot of really cool stuff that they have today, and I've got, you know, a lot of that stuff too. But going back down nostalgia road and finding this older stuff and finding purpose for it today, other than just something you're going to set up and look at with fond memories, to actually be able to use it, I think is pretty cool. Like I said, this is by no means a set loadout. I literally just pulled stuff out thinking, yeah, I could use that on a Scout. Yeah, I could use that on a Recon. Yeah, I could use this on a listing post, observation post. And so as I found things, I just threw them in there. Stuff that I would have had with me, quite possibly. But like when I was in, we had binoculars, but those binoculars, those were behemoths. And you know, all of us, we'd buy our own little Tasco little handheld binoculars, and they did okay. And I definitely have a couple pair of those that I could throw in this too. So some optics would be good. And just sticking with the old school theme of what, you know, I could be putting in this is pretty much where I'd want to have that. And so don't worry about putting in there, I should have a FLIR monocular, or I need to have a PVS 14s or anything else like that, because that ain't going to happen. This right here, the pack I bought, I think it was 25 bucks. I already had the frame, had extra shoulder straps and the waist pad, so, you know, not a whole lot invested there. I paid like $7 for the little training pack, aka butt pack. And so I don't have a whole lot of money wrapped into it, but dollar per dollar, what I got here, it may not be high speed and low drag like a lot of the stuff out there today, but it would still do the job. And with a little bit of help from you, hopefully I'll be able to come up with a decent loadout list to where the next time I take it out, it's going to be more gooder than it is right now. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.